What if the reason you feel exhausted isn't because you're lazy? What if it's because you've been forcing yourself to live against your own wiring? What if the problem isn't that you're not disciplined enough, but that you stopped listening to yourself a long time ago? Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you might realize something uncomfortable and freeing at the same time. You don't need more pressure. You need more honesty. I grew up believing one thing: push harder. That's the American way, right? Work harder, wake up earlier, stay later, grind, hustle, win. And if you're tired, push through it. If you're unhappy, be grateful. If you feel lost, set bigger goals. We've normalized overriding ourselves. But here's what nobody tells you. Forcing yourself for too long doesn't build strength, it builds disconnection. There's something called cognitive dissonance. It's the psychological tension we feel when our actions don't match our inner truth. When you say, "I'm fine," but your body says, "I'm not." When you stay in a job that drains you. When you say yes, but mean no. When you perform strength instead of feeling honesty. Your nervous system keeps score. Research shows that chronic emotional suppression raises stress hormones like cortisol, and over time, that affects your sleep, your immune system, even your heart. Your body will eventually protest what your mouth refuses to admit. And that exhaustion you feel? It might not be laziness, it might be misalignment. You can be high-functioning and still deeply disconnected. You can hit your deadlines, show up for everyone, smile in meetings, pay your bills, and still feel numb. Chronic self-betrayal, saying yes when you mean no, is one of the hidden roots of burnout. When you constantly override your internal signals, you train your brain to ignore them, and eventually, you stop knowing what you feel at all. That's not strength. That's survival mode. When you force yourself, you lose creativity. You lose clarity. You lose emotional range. Chronic stress keeps the brain in a threat state. You become reactive instead of reflective. You make decisions from fear, not alignment. Burnout isn't a time management problem, it's a self-relationship problem. Now here's where people get uncomfortable. Listening to yourself doesn't mean quitting your job tomorrow. It doesn't mean abandoning responsibility. It means pausing long enough to ask honest questions. What am I feeling right now? What am I avoiding? What am I tolerating that drains me? Where am I performing instead of being? Most of us were praised for achievement, not awareness. Rewarded for endurance, not emotional literacy. But listening is a skill, and skills can be rebuilt. That heaviness you feel on Sunday nights, that resistance before certain conversations, that fatigue that shows up out of nowhere, those aren't weaknesses. They're information. Your nervous system constantly scans for safety and alignment. When something feels wrong repeatedly, your body signals it. First, discomfort. Then, anxiety. Then, exhaustion. Then, shutdown. And when shutdown comes, people say, "I don't know what's wrong with me." Nothing is wrong with you. You just stopped listening too late. We keep forcing ourselves because we're afraid. Afraid that if we slow down, everything will fall apart. Our career, our relationships, our identity. But research shows that humans thrive when three needs are met: autonomy, competence, connection. Forcing yourself kills autonomy. And without autonomy, motivation turns into obligation. You don't need more willpower, you need alignment. The shift is quiet. It's not dramatic. It sounds like this: "I'm tired, and that's valid. I don't have capacity for that today. That doesn't feel right." It looks like choosing rest before collapse, setting boundaries before resentment, saying no without writing an apology in your head. Listening doesn't make you weak, it makes you regulated. And a regulated nervous system is more powerful than forced productivity ever will be. When I stopped forcing, I didn't become less productive. I became clearer. I stopped chasing things that weren't mine. I stopped proving things to people who weren't paying attention anyway. energy returned, not because I did less, but because I stopped fighting myself. And when you stop fighting yourself, you free up enormous power. So here's my invitation. Not to quit everything, not to change your life overnight, just this. Today, notice one moment where you usually force yourself, and pause. Ask, is this aligned, or am I performing? You might not like the answer, but it will be honest, and honesty is where real strength begins. If this resonated with you, subscribe. Not because I need the numbers, but because this space is about reconnecting to yourself and to others who are doing the same. And if you feel ready, leave a comment. What's one place in your life where you've been forcing? You don't have to explain it, just name it. That's where listening begins.